Okay, for this video we'll be continuing the action cycle, looking at various types of activations and seeing the differences between them. We have for initiative and the Union of one. The Union have got Lockwood, which is a Union infantry. You can tell that by the pink box has got it's got a cross in the middle of it. So that's infantry. And against cavalry, which just has a single bar across it. The Union then threw a 1, and because the Union infantry don't get any modifiers, unlike the Confederacy who get a +1, you can move 1 hex down the pike towards the red disc. The red disc being a control marker, a county control marker. So he's given a fatigue 1 marker because he's moved. Second initiative, we got a draw again, but because the Union command paralysis, the Union dice becomes a 3 and the Confederacy get the initiative. They would have had it anyway, even on a draw for this particular scenario. Okay, the Confederates decide to activate Longstreet, who is a Confederate Corps commander. He has a command radius of 7, so these 2 military units at Williamsport are both within the command radius. Okay, so we roll a dice, 1 dice because it's infantry, you get a 2 because it's a leader activation. It means you've got 4 movement points, and all of the units of the 1st Corps can move 4 hexes. Confederates win the next initiative, and we've got some Confederate cavalry, so I'll just show how that works. Main difference with cavalry is you roll 2 dice for your movement instead of 1, for obvious reasons. Cavalry can move a lot faster than infantry. So he threw a 3, and he gets, because it's a Confederate cavalry unit, it gets +1 to make it 4. If it was a Union one, it wouldn't get a modifier. The modifiers are only for Confederates in this particular scenario. Next initiative throw was 2 and 1, but it's -1 for the Union, so it becomes equal die roll of 1 each, and Confederacy get the roll. Just going to show you something. I'm not going to activate these, but these little substitute units are where you can you've got about 4, I think it's 4 infantry and 3 cavalry, I can't remember exactly, but if you've got 2 or more manpower, you can break it off from a main formation and form these little substitute military units. So if you have a look at them, it will say sub, and it'll have a number next to it, and it has like a generic tactical values, no artillery strength. I'm just using these as garrisons at the moment, so I've built some breastworks. Breastworks is an action, but it takes 2 fatigue to do it, and you must be at 0 fatigue when you start. Apart from that, a substitute unit would work in the same way. Whether it's infantry and cavalry, it gets the 2 dice for the cavalry, 1 dice for the infantry, and it would also get the Confederate bonus, a +1 in this scenario. So the Confederacy decide to use their initiative to move Rhodes. Now Rhodes has got this little green cube next to it. That means he gets a +2 modifier. He's an infantry unit, so he throws 1 dice. I'm just going to let him do reconnaissance to south of Gettysburg. So he gets a 3, so he gets 5 movement, and he's marked with a fatigue 1 marker. So there you see the difference between activating a single military unit on its own and activating a leader. So if you activate a leader, like if we activate Hill here, anyone in his 6 hex command radius would also move. So he's effectively moving 3 units at the same time. which is a much more efficient way of doing things. Another difference to remember is if you're activating a leader, a Union leader would give a +1 modifier to all its subordinate units, whereas a Confederate one, like Hill, would give +2 movement. So it's just a better way of moving things. Another thing you must remember, the units must be 3 fatigue or lower to be activated, as well as being in the range of the lead. It's also worth remembering that you don't have to activate every unit that's within your command radius that's subordinate to your leader. So for example, I could activate Hill and just move the stat with Hill and Heth and leave Anderson alone. There's also the ability to activate army leaders like Lee, but you're only allowed to do this successfully twice in an entire game. So what you do when you try and activate, you roll a dice. If that dice roll is 4 or more, the activation of the army leader fails. If it's 1, 2 or 3, it succeeds. Once an army unit's activated, you can activate up to 10 units. The rules for activation are the same. You've got to be a fatigue of 3 or less. But I won't be doing any of these activations. As I say, you can only have 2 at a go. You don't want to waste these, because if you want to make a massive attack with just using 1 activation, this is probably where, or a decisive strategic move, this is where they'd be used. And I've already explained they're not particularly reliable. It's a 50-50 chance of getting them.